Goeiemorgen. Good morning to the early rising South Africans. Here in Los Angeles, it's about 7 p.m., so our time zones are totally out of sync. But hey, that's the world, okay? It's round, even though I think the Goons think it's flat. Now, in this video that's attached, Malema is responding to all the legal challenges that he personally and his party are facing from people like Afriforum. And, of course, everybody else, like with the VBS bank debacle, where a lot of the senior employees of that bank were kicked out, while the people who stole the money and put in their own little accounts quietly are still there in politics and apparently above the law. Now, in this particular video that follows, Malema is responding to all the legal challenges that he's now facing. And during this interview with a fellow from Enka, he makes three classic comments, which I've copied here, and I'm going to read them verbatim, and then we can discuss them before we look at the video, okay? And this shows how corrupt the EFF is. Okay. On the point of all the legal challenges, and especially with Afriforum, where they never appeared in court and they never responded to actions taken against them, Malema has an answer, like with the bank. Wasn't our fault. No way. You know what his answer is, and you'll hear it in this interview. This is verbatim. Unprofessional people who hide behind the black skin. In case you missed that, I'll say it again. He says the people who represented the EFF, and the reason they've got all these charges that they're now having to pay, according to the courts, is as a result of nothing the EFF did. It's because of, and this is a quote, unprofessional people who hide behind the black skin. Now, that's got to be a first with Malema. He's actually questioning the integrity of his own people. This is a huge wake-up call. And also in this video, he says, the ANC is rotten to the core. That's a quote in this video by Malema. And the final classic quote, when you consider what Ramaphosa was saying about the expropriation of land and brandishing Mandela's name all over the place when it came to the European Parliament, where he had a half-hour boring bloody speech. Anyway, the speech is, the extract from that speech is a couple of videos back, which you can go and watch if you really want to. The third quote by Malema is probably the most disturbing for the African population that he claims to represent. And in this quote he says, if Mandela came back, he would not be able to rescue this rotten ANC. That's a direct quote from Mandela in this video that follows. Now, you can see that this guy is becoming a little Nelson or a little Hitler. You know, he's bigger than everybody else. I would not be surprised if next year he doesn't suggest that he is greater than Mandela, because that's the line he's moving towards. And he's just waiting for the moment to make that comment. So please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Listen to the interview, watch out for the comments that I've actually quoted from, and take care and have a great day. Bye for now.
Now, is the economic freedom fighters making it easy for those that claim it's just a party of rebel rousers? Well, Afriforum has won, in fact, not one, but 2 court orders against the party. That's this week alone. And since March last year, they have piled up 5 court orders. At the same time, renowned journalists Thandeka Gqubule and Anton Harber have given the EFF a week to prove their allegations that the pair were anti-apartheid skies. The now defunct Huffington Post, South Africa, published unverified information making this claim. The EFF then asked the pair and other unnamed reporters to, quote, confess and ask for forgiveness for allegedly being on apartheid disinformation campaign group Stratcom's payroll. But these claims have come back to bite the party. Now, do these court orders bring into question the EFF's credibility? Or is there a bigger plan at play by the party? Well, EFF leader Julius Malema is my guest tonight. Welcome, Julius. Thanks very much for coming through. Let's start with the Thandeka Gqubule and Anton Harber case. Saying, retract or cough up? What's it going to be?
Well, she must go to Huffington Post. We're not the ones who put up a video which questioned their credibility. They must go to Mama Winnie, who mentions them by name in that video. And all we did was to call upon them to confess or rebut the allegations. And we are not making the allegations ourselves.
Well, the Huffington Post, Peter Dutoy, who is the former editor of the Huffington Post, did apologize and actually admitted to mistakes they made. That one, Winnie Madikizela Mandela's statements in that video were never tested, and that secondly, they also failed to provide a proper context to the story, the way they broadcast it. So the originators of that are prepared to concede that they were wrong. So are you then prepared to concede also that perhaps you rushed to conclusions based on what has now become information that was clearly wrong?
Huffington Post is not interviewing itself. There's a person there who makes the allegation. Tested or not. Tested means they've not given the other side an opportunity to either confirm or dispute what Mama was alleging. But Mama is making the allegation, not through a statement, verbally uttering those words. And we are following in her footsteps after that video was published.
But even when you look at, if you look at what she says on the tape, she actually chooses her words carefully. She talks about how the newspaper and the journalists, and I quote here, actually did the job for Stratcom.
Yes.
And that's not exactly, that's not the same thing as saying they were Stratcom or part of Stratcom. They could have, in how they reported, all right, effectively, promoted the interests of Stratcom. But she doesn't say that they work for Stratcom. So you then have to take responsibility also for how you listened to what she had to say and the calls that you then subsequently made.
No, but you just said here that the EFF says they must confess. The EFF doesn't make the allegation. It says to them, you either confess, and not only them, including the unidentified and unnamed sources which worked for Stratcom. We never said they are Stratcom. We said they must confess their sins. And, if they are not working for Stratcom, why are they complaining? All we're saying is that if the shoe fit, wear it. And we're unshaken about that.
But then you look at what Thandeka has done. She has been to every state security agency, she says, to ask for files, to ask for records, everything she could lay her hands on. And what she has since found is not only did Stratcom actually follow her, right, but that she even goes on to dare anyone with information to the contrary to say they must come forward.
So where do we get in? Singana Pitin.
You apologize for having
You must go around shopping for information that like she did.
No, but then...
We're not involved in that. We never said she's Stratcom.
You mentioned her by name.
Because Winnie mentioned her. Winnie mentioned her. Winnie mentions her.
But she doesn't say that she was
and
part
we are
of
not
Stratcom.
saying that. We are saying if she indeed is a Stratcom, she must confess. We are not saying that. And she has done exactly what we have asked her to do. She has gone to all different houses to shop for information that clears her name. I think that closes the matter. We never took any platform and said she was a Stratcom member.
Okay, let's go
saying Mama mentions the two. And Mama says there were many others. And we're calling upon the two and the rest of unidentified to confess if indeed they've worked for Stratcom.
Okay, let's go back to that tweet that your party sent when the national spokesperson Mbuyiseni Ndlozi tweeted a statement that the EFF released. We call on all the 40 journalists, many of whom are still working in the media, who were in the payroll of apartheid Stratcom, to confess and ask for forgiveness. If they do not, EFF will reveal their names one by one. And you did reveal the names of the three: Nomavenda Matiane, Thandeka Qubule, and Anton Harper. And that is why they are aggrieved.
The tweet you are displaying on the screen just proves you wrong. Because the reason we went to the tweet, we must find where the EFF said Thandeka is Stratcom. You can't find it anywhere. She will have to go and prove to the court where the EFF says she is a Stratcom. The names released were repetition of what Mama says in the video. All we say, these are the people who are named and many others who are unnamed. Please, if there's anything, confess and ask for forgiveness. To say to you, if you have done it, please confess. It's not like saying you have done it, you are guilty of it. We've never made that conclusion.
What would happen if you were to say to these journalists, look, we went exactly what you've just said, and if by saying what we did, then other people read that to mean that we are saying you were Stratcom agents, for that we apologize.
No, we can't do that. We wrote a letter to her and explained the context of our tweet and our statement. And we've explained to her that we never, anywhere in those pieces of communication, uttered or wrote anything that suggests you are Stratcom. We were quoting verbatim what Mama said. If you've got any issue, take it up with Mama. We are not the one who initiated that.
And for that, you're prepared to go to court?
We are not going to court. We are being taken to court. We will defend ourselves.
There. Okay, let's move on to the one of the Afriforum. This week, 2 orders against your party, adding, of course, to 3 that they obtained previously. What is at stake for you on the Afriforum?
Well, Afriforum has got no issue against the EFF. The mistake we made as the EFF is to hire incompetent people who lack professionalism, who are not in a position to follow up matters before court in detail. And we've restructured the legal team of the EFF.
Who are those
They
people?
are lawyers of the EFF who are on a retainer of the EFF, monthly getting paid, but fail to do simple thing of following up the case, which case is coming when, and what should we do. For instance, let's take Ms. Mbegi's case. A lawyer says to us, we've filed a notice to oppose, and just filing a notice to oppose is enough. The matter will now be sent to the opposed role. But the new lawyers say it's not enough. You ought to file a notice to oppose and then still file an affidavit. When we arrive in court, just yesterday, the court says exactly what the new lawyers are saying. People call themselves lawyers, people call themselves black lawyers, and they want to be empowered in the name of black lawyers, even when they are offering mediocre. So that has been dealt with. Now, we've sorted out our legal team. Look at the cost of the Afriforum. The first interdict on occupation of land was unopposed. Why would the EFF not oppose a matter like that? It is because of mediocre and unprofessionalism from the legal team of the EFF. Then the legal team applies to rescind the earlier judgment. In the application, we tendered the cost to the Afriforum, that we are tendering the cost, we want to rescind, we get dismissed, and then we appeal. We file a leave to appeal. After filing leave to appeal, we do not file an affidavit. And then the Afriforum set the matter up to be heard by the court without us. We get dismissed with cost. So they've not won the merits. They've won technicalities because of the EFF not being present. Now we've corrected that. Bring it on, Papa. Let's go into the merits. We're not scared of these boers.
So
they were winning in our absence by us robber. We're now in. And let's go toe-to-toe before the judge on merits of the case.
So the 126,000...
The one we paid is the one we tendered.
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
Is the second one.
Beyond this point...
The first one and the third one were not paying. We are appealing that initial judgment. The judgment says the EFF must not say it will occupy the land. The EFF must remove from its website anything that refers to expropriation of land without compensation. You can hear that demand is madness. So we're not going to succumb to that. The two, we are challenging them. We tendered the cost. We've paid the cost we've tendered. Even on the case of contempt of court, we filed a notice to oppose, but we don't file an affidavit. I was going to be arrested yesterday because of mediocre. Until our lawyer said, yes, you have filed to oppose, but you have to file an affidavit. What happens? We file an affidavit a night before the court. And then we went to court and offered the cost again to Afriforum, this time for the second time. That's when they got the cost on the contempt of court. We'll pay those ones. We tendered them ourselves. Then we got dismissed on execution, where we were appealing the execution. The judge dismissed our case. They got the cost. But even in the execution, we filed an affidavit a night before. And that has been corrected. We just have to pay detailed attention as the leadership on these matters and stop relying on unprofessional people who hide behind the black skin, embarrassing the whole black professionals. It's just a few of them. We ought to identify them and isolate them because they don't deserve our attention.
But how did that happen when you have a seasoned lawyer in your midst, in your chairperson?
It's a senior counsel. Remember, these are steps for you. Senior counsel doesn't receive correspondence. He deals with substantive legal matters. So our senior counsel, both Ngugai Tobi and Advocate Dalimpov, do not deal with the detail, the nitty-gritties of filing and responding and getting a correspondence in Tswane. That is not their responsibility. Okay. It is the responsibility of attorneys.
Okay, we have Llewellyn from Cape Town on the line. Llewellyn, your comment, question?
Yes, with regard to Julius, I want to congratulate him on being a marketing genius. Him and the EFF promote the EFF to the T. They use the courts as publicity for the EFF and the Julius Malema cause. Julius doesn't care how much a court case costs. As long as he can get publicity for the EFF and Julius. One ad on television for 5 minutes will cost the company 300,000 rand. Julius is getting free airtime now. Free airtime on television to promote his party and to promote the EFF. He doesn't care how much it costs. He's on Twitter. The media is giving Julius and the EFF so much promotion that whatever it costs at the court, he'll pay it with the greatest of pleasure. Thank you very much.
Well, it's a misinformed comment. I think he told his immediate that he was a guru in marketing, but he missed this one. So we can't be following up such misinformed interpretation. We will never play with courts for marketing. Court is not a playground. It's a very serious institution of our democracy, it must be respected, and it can never be used for marketing.
Okay. Now, for the whole of this week, I believe you started last week, you've been going around holding these manifesto consultation meetings, as you call them. Talk to us about that approach to your election campaign.
Well, we need a manifesto that people will own. There is a huge constituency in the financial sector, for instance. Majority of us do not speak to it, and yet financial sector plays a significant role in our economy. So we ought to listen to them and begin to pay some attention. The disabled people are not being listened to. We were with grannies today in Soweto. Earlier on, you interviewed the Soweto Electricity Crisis Committee. We had of the same issues where grannies cry and say, we are neglected by a government we had voted for and encouraged you, our children, to vote for. Today, they do not know us. They are swimming in a pool of luxury. They have forgotten the poor of the poorest. So all we need to do is to talk to the dejected masses of our people so that when a manifesto comes, they can own it, they can see themselves in the manifesto of the EFF, because Vuyo, we believe genuinely that we are a government in waiting, and that government in waiting must be based on the will of the people. It must work with the people and deliver that which will better the lives of ordinary, dejected masses of our people on the ground.
Have you conducted any polls or have you done any scientific work recently to actually gauge where your support levels are and whether in fact you do have a very real chance in the upcoming election?
Well, we conduct research. Research is science, is scientific. Any organization that takes itself serious will not overlook what the research says, and research gives us guidance of where we need to go. We know that our voters are young people below 40 years of age, and they are Africans. Majority of them are males. One of the things we are doing in reaching out to different constituencies, we have assembled a team which is going to conduct research amongst women, particularly African women in the township, in the squatter camps, in the villages, and the black young professional females, to check why are they not voting for the EFF, because that is the constituency we are battling with. And it hurts us because we thought ordinarily the landless women in the rural areas will find comfort in supporting the EFF. Therefore, there is something that we are missing there, and we must zoom into it and correct it so that we attract women. Without women, you cannot win elections.
But what is your gut feel telling you could be the reason why you cannot penetrate those particular constituencies?
Our majority of poor African women are on social grants. And this government of kleptocrats threatens them that if they dare support any other party, not only the EFF, they will take away the social grants from these poor people who are relying on them. And therefore, the message of the EFF must be coined in such a way that it reassures them that the EFF will not take away the social grants, that the EFF actually wants to prioritize women when it comes to land, wants to prioritize women when it comes to actual economic empowerment, because women are the most oppressed and rejected people in the current setup.
But is that not undermining the intelligence of those people, though? Because they know for a fact that, access to grants for those who qualify is their right, irrespective of who is in charge.
Well, the research tells you that. You cannot say the research undermines the intelligence of the people, because researchers go and talk to them, and they are able to say, we're scared. And I'm comfortable to say this, because I interact with rural people. I interact with people in the squatter camps and the townships. When we collect their names, for instance, and say, if you are going to vote for the EFF, write your name here. They say, no, Mr. Malema, we are going to vote for you, but don't write my name, because if these people see my name, they won't give me an RDP house, they won't give me a job, they won't give me social grants. It's not undermining their intelligence, by the way. It's a reality that if you vote for a different party, an ANC, ill-informed, illiterate, drunkard councillor immediately scratches your name on the list of recipients of RDP houses. It is illegal though, but our people know that when the EPWPs get hired, and for some reason your name appears on the roll call of the EFF meeting, you will not be employed with those who are going to be employed in that ward for EPWP programs. It's a reality that our people live with, and it takes us to educate them, to reassure them and give them the necessary confidence that these things belong to you. They do not belong to the ANC.
Okay, we have Mike from Cosmos City. Mike, your question, comment?
Hi, Steffi. How are you?
Very well, and you?
Thank you very much. What I want to tell you is, please, let's open an account where we can donate the money to make sure that we defeat all these people. We have been telling people that people need land. You have been upfront telling people that let people get land. You never fight for anything else. Now people are taking you to court. All we are saying is, can we please open an account? We will donate money, and then we can win this fight. Thank you very much.
Well, do you believe that the work that Cyril Ramaphosa has done since the Nazareth conference in December would have, and with the departure of the gift that kept on giving, which was Jacob Zuma, that you probably have less of a chance than you had only a year ago to make inroads into ANC territory?
I made a statement that even if President Mandela was to come back, with due respect, he will not rescue this rotten ANC. It's rotten to the core. Look at what we're doing in Northwest. We're removing ANC mayors with Supra's faction. And the ANC people have been pleading with us that, no, don't work with Supra. It works for us. So when you say the hand that was giving is gone, where did that hand go? The ANC is still there. The hand that gives us is the ANC itself. It was not Jacob Zuma. The ANC in totality is rotten to the core. And that includes the same President Ramaphosa you are talking about. All of that mess which was happening under Zuma happened when President Ramaphosa was there, and he never challenged that. People say he was a deputy. So what? We were not deputies. We were nothing in the ANC. We still challenged all the wrong things that were happening in the ANC. So it's not Zuma. The whole system is rotten. Malusi Gigaba is not Zuma. Batabile Dlamini is not Zuma. Ace Makashule is not Zuma. So what are you talking about? The hand that gives the opposition continues to give the opposition, is now even feeding us healthy meal because the fat is gone, called Zuma.
Quickly, we've run out of time. The State Capture Commission, if when you appear before that commission, you get asked about whether you met the Guptas and whether you had any dealings with them back in the day when you were still in the ANC, what would your answer be?
No. And I won't be, I've never met Guptas. If I met Guptas, I would have said I met them. And this is what we have discussed. This is what I've done with the Guptas. I said to Ace the other day, because we speak, me and Ace, I said to him, why do you want to apologize for meeting Zuma? You are an old person. You meet any person you want to meet at any time. So if I had met Guptas, I meet business people on daily basis. I've been to Patrice Motsepe's house. The question is, did you do anything illegal? No, we didn't do anything illegal. It is in the, when we execute our responsibilities as politicians, we meet business people, we meet professionals, we meet the downtrodden, we meet the dejected mass of our people. All of them constitute the whole composite of our constituency. And therefore, when you meet them and do what is above board, you will never be ashamed that you have met them. If I had met Guptas, I would say, yes, I met them. This is what I've done with them. No one forced me. I'm an adult. I can meet anyone I want to meet.
Okay, that's where we're going to leave. Thanks very much for coming through. Julius Malema, the president of the Economic Freedom Fighters. And that's our show for tonight. News is next.